Hello, beautiful people of the internet and fellow Minecrafters. How is your day going so far? I hope it's absolutely wonderful, just like mine has been. And today I've got some news for you regarding the newest update of A.C.E.S MC Overhaul. That's going to be version 1.0.3. Now, if you didn't see the last video, you can check it out right here. Hopefully, I've remembered to link it in the iCards when I said that. But you should be able to see it there. It's about 2 hours long, but it covers absolutely everything in this mod thus far. And if you can just look around me, especially at that giant monstrosity back there behind me, you can probably guess that there is a lot of stuff to this mod. But this video is only going to cover the new things coming in 1.0.3, and boy howdy, do I have a lot of goals, a lot of plans, a lot of ideas. So let's go ahead and hop to. All right, so I guess we should start with the bugs that were fixed in this update, and the first one is that marble no longer generates above y equals 16. This marble right here in my hand is meant to replicate tuff. It's kind of like how tuff is a granite or diorite or andesite variant. Well, now you have marble as well, and before it was generating above y equals 16, which is bad because it is tagged as a deep slate or replaceable and not a stone or replaceable. So that basically means that we were sometimes seeing deep slate ore at the stone level, and all that stuff should now be cleared up and gone. Of course, if you've loaded in a world that's already done that, I can't change previous generation, but any new worlds should generate properly. The next set of changes come with all of the palm planks. Now, the first thing is that palm doors now have their own item texture. It used to be that it just looked like the bottom part of the door. It didn't have its own little item texture there. It just showed up as this big mesh right here. But now they have their own item textures, so that should all be fixed. Did I? No, there's a door handle right there. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Good, we're good. And the other bug that was listed is that pressure plates only make 2 or 3 or whatever it was, but they should now make 4 pressure plates, just as all the other pressure plate recipes do in my mod. And then finally, palm planks were not initially tagged as planks, so you couldn't use them to make sticks, you couldn't use them to make chests, or basically anything else that you would use any type of plank for that's not specifically plank dependent. You could always make slabs, you could always make trapdoors, but it used to be that things like sticks, things that are not dependent on the type, wouldn't work because I didn't have them tagged properly, but you should now be able to make all of those things. And last but not least, all of our strippable halves will no longer drop bark when stripped. This is just to prevent duplicating. Before, they would drop bark and then you could put bark back on them, or you could, say put bark on a full block and then strip it off. It works better this way. Now the only way to get the to put the bark back on them is in the crafting table. You can see you have to put 2 blocks in here and 1 piece of bark, and it will put the bark back on for you. This is a shapeless crafting recipe, so you can put them in here however you'd like, and it will always work, but you now have to use the crafting table just to prevent the ability to dupe bark. Oh, and this is also fixed for all of my modded halves as well. I realize that these woods here just include the vanilla woods, so all the modded ones are fixed too. Moving right along, we'll cover all of the new stuff added in this update, and then finally we'll cover the changes. That is, stuff that already existed that has now been changed and will work differently. First up in the new stuff is 6 new advancements, most of which, actually maybe all of which, being in the husbandry tab. And you can notice 5 of them right here for all the various eggs. First and foremost, we have a starter one just called Which Came First for acquiring any egg. And Burp City. Once you have acquired that egg, you should then be able to get these 4. This one here is for obtaining an emperor penguin egg, or obtaining, I'm yawning, can you hear it? Obtaining a flamingo egg, obtaining a Galapagos penguin egg, and then right here we have a little bit of a goal advancement for obtaining a whole clutch of turtle eggs. Now, a clutch of turtle eggs is anywhere from 4 to 64. So if you have 4 or 64 turtle eggs in your inventory, you should get this one as well. If you're wondering why I have this one and this one, but not this one, it's because I actually have been playing around with these and testing these eggs before I added them to the advancement trigger for this, but now they should work. You shouldn't be able to get any of these four without first getting this. And last but not least, we have this one, Avian Explorer, for acquiring any pair of flamingo wings. Now, you can't actually do this right now. I have discovered a bug where flamingos are not dropping any items whatsoever, meaning you can't get the flamingo wing, so you can't get the flamingo wings, and thus you can't upgrade them or anything like that. So unfortunately, you'll only be able to get this in creative for now, but I've actually already fixed this. So if I get myself a nice sword and smack this flamingo right here, you'll notice it does indeed drop a flamingo feather. So I've already fixed this bug, and it should be good to go for the next update. Now, despite accidentally being unobtainable, these flamingo wings are actually a new item, and the next thing we are going to cover. Flamingos should eventually, let me actually switch my game mode to creative, drop the flamingo wing, which is then craftable into flamingo wings, and then upgradable into sturdy flamingo wings. And whenever you have these equipped, like I do right now, if I were to jump off of a height, they work very similar to the turtle helmet. So if I jump off here, they give me slow falling, and you can see they open up and save me. The problem is they don't stop flapping. If I were to crouch, they would also have a crouch animation, but they would never stop. It's just a bug with my animations right now. Hopefully, I'll get it fixed as soon as I can, but this type of stuff is just really not up to me. I don't really have much control at all on if/when this stuff gets fixed. So hopefully it gets fixed sooner rather than later. Just to show you guys the crouch animations here. Oh, well, I guess the sturdy wings aren't doing animations at all, which is another bug. Our next area of focus is on the beavers. Now, the beaver model has changed slightly. You might notice that. They've also gotten their own custom animation, so you can see they kind of breathe while they sit there, and they also get their own custom walk animations, and they have their own custom noises. So if I'm just quiet here for just a little bit, hopefully you can hear those sounds there. In fact, I think I'm going to go into my sounds and okay, friendly creatures are at 100. That is good. And you can also breed them using sticks. So if I hold these sticks, they don't follow you. That is something worth noting. But you can hit them with the sticks right here, and that should put them in love mode. They'll come to each other and make a beaver kit. Beaver kits are fully integrated, just like their papas and dadas. They've got their animations, they make their own noises, and of course, they don't drop anything when you kill them. Next up is our white-tailed doe / buck and fawn. Now, I did have some issues. You can't actually breed these two entities with anything because every time I would try, it would only work when you breed a buck with another buck or a doe with another doe. And while, look, I do support LGBTQ and all their rights and whatnot, they're not going to procreate, okay? It doesn't work that way, and there's no adoption in the deer world. So, unfortunately, the only way to find a white-tailed fawn is if it just spawns naturally alongside a doe, which is quite possible. If I were to spawn a doe in using this egg, it has a chance of spawning in with a fawn. If I can just, get that to happen, come on, please. There, okay, that worked, yes. Or I can click on one of these with these eggs and it also spawns a fawn, but that's, a creative mode only thing. So, unfortunately, you won't really see too many of these fawns out in the wild, and when they grow up, they do have a 50% chance to become male and a 50% chance to become female. It is completely random. But just like, as you can see, they've got their own walk animations, which I'm not entirely sold on. I think they need to be a little bit more dramatic, and as you can see, I need to fix up some of the textures because you can see some untextured items, and they've also got their own noises, which I'm sure you can hear. We also have the mounted buck trophy, which you can now place on the wall. It looks like it takes it out of your inventory when you're in creative. That's a bug that needs to be fixed. But yeah, you just place it on the wall. It sits there and it will actually increase your enchanting levels. So if I get myself an enchanting table here, you should notice that I get slightly increased levels. Yeah, it's a 2 and a 5. I don't know. It shouldn't be too much of an increase, but it should increase ever so slightly. So if I go here, Well, it looks like it's still just a 2 and a 5, but it does. I swear. It will increase your enchantment rates if you put it down nearby. Ducks can now be bred together using any type of seed. So you'll see here, any type of seed that I hold, they still look at me, they still follow me. And if they look at you and follow you, you should also be able to breed them with it. So even my modded seeds and all these things here still work. In fact, if we go and use the torch flower seed or the tomato seeds or the cucumber seeds or the unreleased bat flower seeds, all of these seeds, well, never mind, except for the bat flower seeds. Let me check the torch flower seeds. Okay, these do not work either. So the sniffer seeds do not work, but the other seeds should work just fine. And if you right click on them, they will breed up and they should produce a little chick. They also every now and then lay eggs. And you can see there are duck eggs in here. They're still just called eggs because, you know, chicken eggs aren't labeled chicken eggs. They're just eggs. So now there are multiple types of egg. Not only do you have chicken eggs, you also have duck eggs. Now, I'm not sold on really any of my egg item textures. The egg, I do like the flamingo egg. I don't really like the Galapagos or the emperor penguin eggs. Both of these need work, and honestly, even the fried egg needs some work. It's just too oversaturated, in my opinion. But anyways, I digress. Back to what I was talking about. There is a slight bug right now where if you throw a chicken egg in survival mode, if I do game mode survival, it actually consumes 2. So you see I'm down to 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, none. So it is a slight bug. It's not supposed to. And we're also, for some reason, having a bit of a problem with getting the chicks to spawn. But if I throw enough, there we go. Yes, so there's one. And they should spawn at the same frequency that baby chickens spawn. It just seems like they're having, you know, a bit of an issue. They're a bit slow, but they should spawn pretty much the exact same way that the baby chickens spawn. If you listen closely, you've probably already noticed, but they also have their own custom sounds and their custom animations. If you drop a duck from a height, it's also got its falling animations, although it doesn't quite have slow falling yet. I haven't been able to figure that out. It is something that I'm currently still working on. Next up, we have elephants. Now, elephants can be tamed using hay bales. So if you tame your elephant, which you see, click, 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 there we go. We've got the hearts, and then we tame this elephant here. There we go, we got the hearts. We should now be able to click them with hay bales and breed them together. So they should want to breed just like this and then produce. If we give it just a second. There we go. All right, I guess they just weren't quite close enough. So maybe you'll have to push them together, but it will produce a little tiny elephant offspring. And you can hear and see they've got their own animations and they've got their own sounds. They're actually quite annoying. And I believe, yeah, you've already been able to tusk them, so elephants here are fully integrated. Now, because they are tameable, if you actually shift and right-click on them, they should now sit. So if I go ahead and break this fence open just like this and then use a hay bale, you'll see that baby follows me, and this other guy should be following. I should be able to push this and then get this guy's attention, and he should want to follow me. Maybe I have to shift right-click. Maybe he's already sitting. Yes, okay, but if I go ahead and shift right click this entity here. Yeah, okay, there we go. So they have no sit animations just because they are so big, they can't actually sit down. But if you shift right click on them, they are quote unquote sitting and they will not follow you or walk around or really do anything for that matter. Now, if you're not shifting and you just right click on them with an open hand, it will make you ride them. As you can see, the mounted entity offset is slightly bugged, so you sit way up here on the elephant. That's not intentional, but that will be fixed sooner rather than later. Something worth noting about the elephants is if you use an axe to remove their tusk, you will no longer be able to breed them together. But if you have two elephants with one tusk, you know, say you take the tusk off of one and then take the tusk off the other, you will be able to breed those two together. Basically, all I'm trying to say here is your elephants need to have the same amount of tusks, otherwise they won't breed together. So elephants have to be completely identical, and you should be good to go. Next up, we have our penguins. Now, all of our penguins will follow and can be bred using salmon or cod, and you have to tame them first. So if I go ahead and give this guy some cod or some salmon, you'll see he is now tamed, and because he is tamed, I can once again make him sit. I don't have to be shifting this time. I can be, it doesn't matter. But because I can't ride this guy, I don't have to be shifting, but you'll notice he no longer follows my fish because he's sitting. And if I make him stand, he will now follow. Now, these guys do actually have their own sit animations. Not only do they sit a little bit lower, but their legs also go out. It is very subtle, but if you're paying attention and you know what it looks like, you can tell the difference. So you can see there. And if I go ahead and feed this guy cod, these two will now breed together and give me a Galapagos penguin egg. Now, these eggs behave very similar to turtle eggs. I can't stack them in the same thing, but I do have to place them down, and if I stand on top of them, they will be crushed. I can stand in the same block, I just can't stand on top of them. Now, these Galapagos penguins, say I had a Galapagos penguin on top of it, that's totally fine. It's not going to crush it. Eventually, I want to make it so that if your penguins are on top of it or near it, they will actually grow faster, but that's just not an option right now. I can also sneak and walk on them, and I'm totally fine. But as soon as I stand up all the way, they'll probably break. Same with these guys right here. You'll also notice they all have their own animations, but if I go ahead and give this guy his fish to tame him, and then give this guy his, get out of here, give this guy his fish to tame him, and then breed him, these two will then breed together, and they should give me an emperor penguin egg. There we go. All right, so it took a little bit there, but we got it. You can also make these guys sit, and their sit is a little bit more noticeable. They do sit much lower, and their legs still go out. So if you take a look at their legs there, they go in, out, in, out. And then now, because those guys are sitting, they won't follow my fish. Emperor penguin eggs are the same way. They're just much, much bigger. If I step on them, they will be crushed. And if I stand in the block, that's totally fine. They grow at random rates. They take quite a long time to hatch. And once they hatch, if I can just go ahead and place down a few of these eggs. Oop, get out of here, Galapagos penguin. You're going to crush my emperor penguin eggs. Let me just make you sit there for a second. And then let's go ahead and increase the the tick speed. All right, there we go. They just hatched. I tried setting the time to night, and then I remembered that it doesn't actually do anything when you set the time to night because they're penguins, not turtles. They grow at the same rate either way. So you can see our baby emperor penguins and our baby Galapagos penguins. Our baby Galapagos actually might end up becoming a little bit smaller because as of right now, they're pretty much the same size as the adults. So we're gonna change all that, or we might change all that. We shall see. But if I set it to 3, you'll notice they kind of move around. Their AI really bugs out when you set the tick speed to that high. Now, these guys, they have their own animations, but you can't tame them, you can't breed them, you can't make them sit, anything like that. You fully have to wait for them to grow up, and once they grow up, you can then breed them, tame them, etc. And last but not least, we have our flamingos, which work the same way, except you can't tame them, and they follow crab meat. So if I feed this guy and feed this guy, they should breed together and give me a flamingo egg. I'll get my advancement for picking that up, and then of course I can place that flamingo egg down. It looks like flamingos do break their own eggs by standing on them, so that's something that I actually still need to fix. And then these flamingo eggs will hatch all the same way. Let me go ahead and just speed the time up once again and let this thing hatch, because otherwise there really is no way to get these baby flamingos in. There we go. We have our little baby flamingos, and when they're not walking, they actually sit down because flamingos are very clumsy when they're babies. And honestly, I think these are probably my cutest babies that I've made. I don't know what's up with the flashing on the feet, but I want to fix that. I don't know what's causing it. I hate it. But hopefully we can fix it here soon. Go ahead and walk around, little guy. I want to show off your walking animation. Walk around. I think he follows the crab, so I think I can. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I see what's happening. I need to decrease the tick speed back down to 3. And then he should get up and walk around. You see they're kind of clumsy. They wobble a little bit, and then when I stop,
they sit back down. Some more of our changes include hamsters. Hamsters also now have their own animation. You'll see they'll sit down when they're just not moving anywhere, and then they'll jump up and run away, and then sit back down kind of slowly, wiggle their nose and their ears and whatnot. But these hamsters can also be bred, and they can also be used to use hamster food. They are scared of movement, so I have to stop moving to get them to kind of follow me. But once I can sit there. Boom, I've just tamed him. I can now right click on him and he will sit. That's their hamster sitting position. I can, whoop. Alrighty, that entire world is now corrupted. It won't let me load back in. So we're here in a fresh, flat world. Hopefully I can get that stuff worked out and all fixed. I don't know what caused it, but avoid clicking your hamsters. That's not a problem because hamster food is currently bugged and cannot be crafted. That's something that's going to get fixed in 1.0.4. But hamster food is currently bugged and cannot be crafted. It is also no longer edible. It used to be edible in 1.0.2 and previous versions, but you can no longer eat this stuff. I'm trying as hard as I can right now, and I can't. You can see here, I can eat glowberries. And speaking of glowberries, the lush hamsters here not only have their own sounds and animations, but they can be bred together using, or not bred, they can be tamed using glowberries, and they can also be healed using glowberries. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to try and make them sit. I'm going to try and make them sit. Okay, I can make them sit. I can make them stand. Okay, so whatever I did with the other hamsters seems to be an other hamster only thing, not a lush hamster thing, which is good. Lush hamsters seem to be unaffected. Another change I made was that elephants used to be immune to drowning. That is because I wanted to make it so that they could swim in very, very deep blocks of water and just stick their trunk up. So that is no longer the case. Now if an elephant is in water, you'll see it actually uses its custom animation to stick its trunk up. And it does go through the block there. It's, kind of unfortunate. Not really anything I can do about it, but you will tell and be able to see that trunk comes up right above this water line. So this is 5 blocks of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. And anything more than 5 blocks of water will drown this elephant. So you can see right now he's totally fine. But if I was to, say, put a water source here, then it's very likely that he would start drowning. Now, I know that's not where the trunk is. That's a little bit, quote unquote, unrealistic, and honestly, it's unpreferred. I wouldn't want it to work this way, but the only thing I can do is detect directly above where the elephant is, which, yeah, is probably right there in the center. You can see now that it's 6 blocks tall. The elephant starts to drown, and if it was solid air, he would also start to drown because he presumes that there's no air up there for his trunk to get to. So yeah, they can breathe in 5 blocks deep water, but anything more than that, and they will drown. And last but certainly not least, these jellyfish now have their own custom animations and custom sounds. Very squishy, very squishy. But I do have reason to believe that these jellyfish just aren't spawning at all. So if you guys don't see any jellyfish, please let me know, and I'm gonna see if I can fix that. But I don't know why they're not spawning. I just haven't been able to find any. So I just think they're not spawning. Squirrels also now have a slightly different model. You can see their tail isn't so bushy as it was before, and instead just more blocky. This was originally really jarring to me the first time I saw it, but the more and more I look at it, the more and more normal it looks. I feel like this is just kind of how a squirrel would look. Now, this is a bit of an issue because I didn't update the squirrel hat. So if I go in the squirrel hat, it is still, really, really detailed, which I kind of like. It might be changed, it might not. We're gonna have to wait and see. You'll also notice that this hat is sitting way too high on my head. I need to drop it down by about 2 blocks. All of the pelt hats or hide hats kind of have that same bug where they sit too high on your head. And our final change is to the electrified bars you can see right here. Now, these bars... And our final change is to the electrified bars that you can see right here. Now, if you listen closely, you can probably hear that there's a subtle humming coming from these bars, and that's to let the player know when a bar is electrified and when it is not. So if I step away from it, that humming should go down until it's gone, but as we get closer, it comes back. So you can tell that they are electrified bars because they emit that soft electrical humming noise. And if I get right up next to them, they now have their own brand new zap sound that is different than, oh my gosh, that is so loud. That is different than what what it used to be before. It used to just use the Guardian zap sound, and it was really obnoxious. It's actually still kind of loud, but I think that sounds a lot better. It's a lot more accurate to how I would like these electric bars to sound. And finally, with the changes, before we move on to bugs, if I walk into these electric bars, they now do their own special type of damage, and they have their own death message. So, a little bit later, after your ears are broken, you shall see, Dev died of electrical shock. There are also some other death messages as well, but I'll let you guys find those ones on your own. And last but not least, we have bugs. First up on our bugs list is an occasional visual glitch when bone mealing double tall crops. So we'll see if we can get it here. That all looked normal. That looked normal. That looked normal. There we go. So you can see just for a brief second, it loaded in as a double tall and then went back to 1. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It, yep, just happened there. It advanced past the actual growth stage and had to revert back. Whoa, okay, this is actually its own glitch that needs fixed. I was completely unaware that that was a thing that was happening, but I will look into that. Where sometimes the cucumber crop is breaking itself when bone mealed. Okay, noted. I actually had that same problem with tomatoes and corn for the longest time, and just recently was able to fix it. So I should be able to fix that, no problem. I probably just forgot to also cover the cucumber. So you can see there, it went to the final stage and just back for like a fraction of a second. And that is the glitch I'm talking about. It really doesn't affect anything. This is its own glitch, which I am just now discovering, and I will make sure to add to the bugs list. But the other one is just a visual glitch. Our next bug is that whenever you right-click on an entity with its custom spawn egg, it actually simulates a successful breed attempt instead of just spawning in the baby version of that entity. So, for example, if I click the flamingo, instead of spawning in a baby flamingo, the flaminglet, it actually spawns in the hearts and the egg as well. And same with the beaver. The beaver actually seems like it's working, so that's a little weird. And the elephant, you get the hearts there still, so the elephant is not working. It is suffering from this bug, and the duck is also suffering from this bug. So I don't know how to fix this. Honestly, this is something about like how Mcreator codes the game by default, so this isn't much that I have control over. It's not a big deal. It really only happens in creative, and creative is where the bugs matter the least, so probably won't get fixed anytime soon. And last but not least, occasionally the sit animations for things like the hamster boy here or my penguins or whatnot can be glitchy from occasion to occasion, where they either persist and last forever, or it seems like they're going like just sitting and standing really quickly. Usually leaving the area or just simply exiting the game and coming back fixes these glitch, but once again, it's all just visual glitches, and all the other problems we've actually already covered in today's video. So without further ado, that should be absolutely everything you guys need to know about update 1.0.3, except for actually I need to let everyone know, when I first released this update, I forgot and didn't remember that it now has a dependency, which means that there is another mod you have to install in order to get this mod to work properly, and that mod is called GeckoLib. So in the first release, if you download from CurseForge, you'll notice there's two 1.0.3s. There's a 1.0.3 and a 1.0.3.1. Download 1.0.3.1 because 1.0.3 doesn't have GeckoLib listed as a dependency. So it just will fail to load every time, and it won't tell you why. But if you load into 1.0.3.1 on CurseForge, if you're downloading from Mcreator, just totally ignore this. It's just one file, because CurseForge actually lets you delete previous uploads, whereas, Mcreator. Mcreator lets you delete previous uploads, whereas CurseForge does not. So it's a problem on CurseForge, not quite a problem on Mcreator. If you download it without GeckoLib, it should tell you, hey, you need GeckoLib version 0 or higher. That's because pretty much any version of GeckoLib will work. What I suggest that you do is find the version of Minecraft you're looking to play in. Right now, that can only be 1.20.1, but in the future, it might be different. And just search a Forge download for 1.20.1 GeckoLib and just download whatever the newest update to GeckoLib is, and it should work flawlessly. If you have any problems with it, just feel free to let me know. Leave me a comment on this video or on CurseForge or Mcreator or whatever. And then without further ado, we shall see you in the Let's Play episode 2, which should hopefully be the next thing to come out on this channel within about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I want to say. I hope you guys are enjoying the mod so much. I am loving creating it, and I'll catch you all later. Peace out.